Hi, this is Lisa sharing life stories with you. I want to show you something today. I promised you guys for a long damn time. My husband's beautiful top alcohol Dragster, correct? All right, he's going to start it and I'm scared, so I'm standing back. But you guys are going to hear it and then we're going to go ask him questions. It's because I'm scared and it's loud as fuck. So I'm gonna, as soon as he shuts up, only let it run for a minute and then I'm gonna go ask him.
I'm only letting it run for a minute.
Yeah, just a second, and then I'm gonna go ask him a million questions. Leave me alone, Laurel. Hold on. See how she's got a knack for the complete wrong times? I've never seen nobody. Go ahead, start it. It's loud. I don't know how he can put the fuel in and start at the same time. The guy is talented, because I couldn't do this shit. That's good enough.
No, hold on.
He's crazy. He's not right in the brain, you guys. Okay, wait. I'm just backing up. This scares the shit out of me. But chirping scares the shit out of me. Shut it off! He ain't right. Okay, you guys, I half the time I want to choke my husband and kill him dead, but I'm going to tell you something. This man put this car together by himself. He did this car. He put the engine in it, put everything together. It was just a frame. Can you please tell me exactly what this is called? He grew up on this. His father was a top fuel #1 qualifier in the year I was born in 1967. And I'm going to tell you, I am so proud of my husband with this car. I want to kill him half the time because he's a PIG, as you can see. But he lived and breathed this car. The amount of work for this man, there's teams. They have teams that put cars like this together. Crews, 10, 15 men. My husband did this every day. He couldn't even eat and sleep. He'd drag his ass in at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now I'm gonna shut up for a minute, ask him some questions, and you guys tell me if this isn't the badass thing. I mean, for him to do this on his own, I will never forget this. This is like when I first got married to him and he put a Dodge Demon together from the ground up, and this is 10 times more harder. It's just not no comparison, so I'm very proud of him. All right, Chuck Kurzawa, tell us a little bit about your Dragster.
It's a 220-inch front engine car. It's a Halcanode chassis. A guy named Terry McMillan owned it, and it was something it was too fast for him or something like that, so another guy tried to drive it and he made a few runs in it, and then they ended up selling it to this guy John Dunn, who buys whole racing operations in Illinois.
You got to turn that off. It can't be on in the background.
So
yeah, copy infringement. No one even heard that.
Phil went to Illinois.
His best buddy.
I already had a cheap fire suit that I bought off of somebody because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wanted a funny car, which is the kind of car where you get in it and you close the body down on it.
No, you don't.
Like
That's
my
ugly.
buddy Phil has. But when I went out to Phil's with all my fire suit and helmet and everything and got in the car and he strapped me in and he shut the body down, I had to tell him to hurry up and get me out of there.
Why? Claustrophobic?
It was the most claustrophobic feeling
And hot.
I've
You
ever
talk about hot,
felt
yeah.
in my life. And then I thought about it. If the body catches on fire, because these motors, this motor right here is 3,000 horsepower, the way that it is right now. It's a 526 Keith Black Hemi based off of the 426 Hemi.
Keith Black.
Except for it has a 4.5-inch stroke crank, which makes it a 526.
He knows all these words.
31 bore. It's a full racing motor. Basically, it's the same exact motor as what is in the what they call nostalgia top fuel now, or the old top fuel cars like when my dad was around and drove. This is basically the same thing. The only difference is I'm running mine on alcohol, which is only, like I say, 3,000 horsepower. But if I put nitromethane in it, it makes it 5,000 horsepower.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. You never told me that.
Because nitromethane makes a lot of power and it makes its own oxygen. The only downside to nitromethane is it's very dirty and hard on the engine. The inside of the motor, basically everything's aluminum. Aluminum rods, aluminum pistons, chromoly rings, and then I believe it is a cast steel 4.5-inch stroke crank, which the cranks in these are almost bulletproof, they say, but if you try to lean on it enough, you'll end up hurting it. But anyways, so yeah, I wanted to get into a funny car, and it just, I didn't feel comfortable.
Can you tell us, sir, and I'm calling him sir, showing him respect, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, and I apologize, but I want you to kind of give these people an idea where your love came from.
Sure.
He's going to start crying because he's going to make me cry. Where'd your love come from, Mr. Kurzawa?
My dad.
His dad's with him, and I know every minute of the day his dad's with him. His dad lived and breathed these cars.
My dad built and drove these cars. This is where my childhood home, so this is where I grew up. And he had a different garage before he passed away, and he built these cars in the garage, and he built them at work too for a good portion of his life.
Who'd he build them for, Logie?
But he built them for himself, and then he built them for Logie, but he built all the famous people cars like Coletta, Shirley Muldowney, people like that.
His dad was very famous.
It wasn't rare for us to have Shirley's car back here with Connie Coletta's car behind it, my dad welding on both cars, and we'd have both of their trucks and trailers out front, and everybody would be stopping to look.
How many people were here, do you think, at a time looking?
Lots. It was, whenever they seen the trailers, they came.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So about 10 people?
They would just line up. It was cool. I was the only one who could say my dad did something like that.
Yeah, it was that would be a really rare thing. Your dad built race cars for a living. I mean, really, who really hears of that even nowadays? That is a rare thing to hear, yeah. That's true.
This is my 50-year childhood dream.
Finally come through.
Come true.
And tell people who don't believe in themselves, give them encouragement. Because it's true. Give them the encouragement that you found, and you beat yourself up for years. Give them what you found.
I was nothing short of a monster at times in my life, but I always had something good in me too at the same time. It was like having
Bad fighting evil.
the bad on one side and the good on the other, for the most part,
good
for most
fighting
of
evil.
my life, I let the bad win. So, you know,
But you always talked yourself out of this.
it took me a long time to get into racing. Like, I went to the track a few times to the big NHRA races, but
I
those
love
people don't have time for you out there.
Because there's so much money involved with them. Everybody's pulling on them.
You try to talk to them and they like blow you off or
They got 2 minutes because everybody's pulling on them. That's why there's so much money involved.
So when I got with Phil Landrum,
he's a great guy,
and
Phil Landrum.
Phil asked
Oh my
me
God.
to work on his funny car for him. I jumped on it because, you know, I figure, okay, I'm
Opportunity.
coming up on 50 and this has always been my dream. Why don't I try to see
What it could bring you.
If I could do everything that needs to be done to acquire it. And the way everything fell into place is nothing
God.
short, but it's got to be God. But then, like
It's beautiful.
a few weeks ago when I made my last run, and my buddy Reverend Mike Oginski with me, and
He's a great guy too. He was my original neighbor and I got him hooked up with my husband. He has a 67 Camaro and it's really cool painted. I mean, it's really unique. It's purple and pink and the way it looks, I've never seen nothing like that ever anywhere. And my husband's crying because they're such good people in his life.
I asked Mike, I'm like, why would God give me my dream when I've been such a monster at times in my life? And he keeps telling me that when we ask for forgiveness, something happens. And I'm not perfect. I ask for forgiveness every day because by no means am I perfect, but I'm a long way from what I used to be.
He's completely changed.
But I'm still the same person that I was when I was doing bad. I just choose not to listen to the bad side.
And look what it's brought him.
Of my brain.
It's brought him so much happiness.
So when the car came about, you know, I thought about it. I'm like, you know, I've devoted a lot of my time to jobs that I've had, you know, because I truly love what I do. And we're very rare in the mechanic world. You know, somebody who actually loves it and doesn't.
Not many people love to be greased up all the time and work their asses off.
Not many. So, you know, I always gave my all to them, and I would never give it to myself. So this time around, I said, you know what? If I can pull my head out of my butt long enough to actually listen to what I've been told a long time ago, because I'm not stupid. I didn't just learn what it took to get me to where I'm at. I knew it was there. I just never gave myself a chance to actually see what I could actually
He never
do.
thought he was good enough to obtain a car like this.
Here's the strange part about it. Something like this, I mean, this is something that rich people do. I'm not rich.
We're poor. And I tell you that every day, we're poor.
By no means.
But it's just like, it was, you know what?
I do odd jobs for people here and there, and that's how I get...
How he got this. And somebody said, and I don't want to interrupt you, Charles, on YouTube, these wonderful people, Summers of Alaska, got a baby that was only a week old. And the father said yesterday, I keep saying to myself, how can this be? How can this be? It's just too good. Because someone told him, some good things in life just don't make sense. They're just as is. There is. You accept them and you go on because God put that in your life. And this is something he has wanted ever since the day I met him. I met him at 31 years old or whatever, 30 years old. And I knew I loved him from the get-go. And this is something he's wanted since then. This is something he's wanted for 30 years. And it just somehow, and it wasn't easy, he busted his ass to get this car. He bartered, nickeled, and traded and killed himself. So many trips to Ohio and back with other people and killed, no sleep, nights and days with no sleep, no food, no nothing. And he got it, and then he had to build it all by himself with no help.
I didn't have to build it by myself. I just chose to because
you knew it would be better
I do
that way.
Things a certain way, and I just didn't want anybody to help me out and interfere with that way. I just do.
You felt more better by yourself, more secure.
What I had to do is
I just want to get you guys a close
I had
up.
to build this car from my heart.
It is. It's from your heart,
and
oh boy.
That's why when people look at it, they're like, wow, it's just as nice as one of those pro cars.
Yeah, that's the thing that kills me, you guys. This is no different than you see these guys on TV that do this sport. They got $5 million cars, and they got 10, and that's the thing that kills me. They got 10, 15 guys running their ass off because there's, what is a 45-minute turnaround in between?
Yeah, you got 75 minutes in between.
Oh, 75 minutes.
In between each round.
Yeah, and they're redoing.
And that's nitro, though.
I know, but they're redoing things. But you're one-man show. He's a one-man show.
The good thing about the alcohol is it doesn't... it's not as
It's more
hard,
forgiving.
It's not as hard on, what's in the bottom end. It's the tune-up that you change what'll end up hurting it or... anything like that. So, but yeah, this was always my dream. I never forget the day my dad sold his last car. The guy came to pick it up. I laid on the trailer door and cried, "Don't sell it! Don't sell it! Don't sell it!"
How old were you?
I think I was 11 or 12. It was 1983, the end of 83.
And you probably were really starting to like it then, because you were getting old enough to appreciate it.
He built a brand new car for himself. He built 4 cars, and these were rear engine cars. This is a front motor car. So the last car he drove was a rear engine.
Is that the one he caught on fire in?
Yeah. He caught on fire in multiple, but that was the last fire. It blew that gasket out and burnt the chute off. And I remember when we brought the car home without the motor in it, because the motor was this guy's Stan's. He gave me the burnt up parachute, and I rigged it to my bike, and here I am.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
The street with a top fuel dragster parachute on the back.
It's big. You guys don't realize how big it is. His dad used to tell me he'd watch him on the porch with a parachute.
I'd be flying by, and I'd pop that thing, and it was all burnt up, so it didn't even blossom. So yeah, but
he loved that. His dad told me that before he died, that he was a little kid on a bicycle and put a parachute on his bicycle and go past the house and said, "Watch me." And his dad got such a kick out of that.
When I was a kid, when he sold that car, I told myself somehow, some way, I would put a car back on that property. Somehow, even if it ain't mine, but this is the weird thing, and things are strange, but I believe it was last year in 2021. This was before I got this car. I opened a fortune cookie, and it said a great honor would be bestowed upon me in the coming year.
You never told me this. How come I don't know this stuff?
I can't find it. I had it in there.
Oh, I'm going to get blamed for this.
Anyways, you get a fortune cookie, and you look at it, and you're like, oh, yeah, right.
Right.
And when all of this came about, how I actually got the car and everything,
it just was too perfect. Right?
Everything
it's just too perfect.
Fell into place.
It couldn't. If you tried on your best day, it couldn't have been more right.
I was gonna put a blown big block Chevy in it, which is probably about half of the power. These Hemis make a lot of power.
And a lot of people have told you this is a real fast car, other professional men, right?
So this motor, one of my dad's old friends, Jeff, had this motor, and the deal was if I sold this motor as a whole to somebody, he would give me enough parts to build my own motor, which was basically same thing as this, except for a different block, bigger bore. It was just a different combination. So I kept listing this motor on Marketplace, and normally, and I listed it on these racing sites, which that's what the people do. They all look at the racing sites.
And this is the name of his dad's old car, Eagle Trip. I just wanted to tell you guys that.
So
Sorry.
I listed it, and nobody wanted it. Nobody would bid on it or anything. And then finally, he dropped the price so low that I put it up there in 3 days. Nobody took it. So what I did was I went to Lisa's boss, who is ironically a retired
Cop.
City of Warren police officer
He's a good
for
guy.
almost 30 years. And we've become friends, which is odd because that's who I fear the most in my life was the cops. The cops were always the ones who got me to actually stop and look at what I was doing. It was the only way that I could ever pull my head out of my butt was the cops had to stop me. So to have
When he was young.
to have even when I was older, just growing up through my life.
Because you just would never think right.
but-
That's
To have him as a friend is like somebody up there put me with him
yeah, on purpose.
because he just it's nothing about him. He's just, you feel cop when you're around him. You feel it.
Yeah, you
Something
do.
about him. He's
feel
got his
cop.
eye on you. He's always sizing you up. And
Yeah.
he says he's not,
But he is.
but he is, because like when we went and got his truck from Ohio, I was the most uncomfortable I ever been in my life, and I had to drive there and drive
And he kept
back.
wanting to eat, and you wouldn't let him go eat.
Oh, that man can eat, boy, and he throws down.
He's Polak like me and us.
So, but yeah, so what happened was I went to him and I'm like, you know, because I'm going to build him this 1954 Chevy pickup. I'm going to, I told him, I said, well, how about, because I got another, basically another big black Chevy. It's at the machine shop. I got to go pay him and pick it up. But anyways, I told him I'd sell that motor, which is probably about a $15,000 long block. So
I gotta change hands.
I told him I'll sell that and I'll buy him a brand new crate motor for his truck. So he was like, come get the money. So I went and got it, borrowed a truck, and went to Ohio.
Do you have his motor?
Yeah, it's at the machine shop.
Oh.
So I got the truck and went to Ohio and got this from Jeff. So for him to, that's another one I cannot.
I want to leave them hanging, though. I want to do a part 2.
I can.
So wrap it up and let's do a part 2 because you got too much good stuff to put it all in one video.
So yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The gist.
I want you
of
guys to
all
come
of
back and
this
hear more. There's
is-
good stuff.
And if you got
So
kids or
good.
whatever, and they're doing drugs and doing stupid stuff, if you tell them that there was a guy that you just seen who made them look like Mary Poppins when it came to doing drugs and doing stupid stuff, tell them if I could do something like this, they can do anything that
That's wonderful.
they
What a great
put their
message.
mind to, because anything's possible. You just have to make the decision.
Just got to open up your
and
heart.
you have to go through with it. You know, this car doesn't make me anything special. I'm just blessed with some really good people in my life.
And it
It's
makes you happy,
It's
this
so
car.
strange because the people that are in my life are who I need in
Need
my
to
life.
be. Yep, yep.
It's not who I choose to be.
Yeah,
it's
that's
who
true too,
needs
because he could be
to
around real scummy
They
people.
need
And I'm
to
not
be
trying
there
to, yeah.
Because we're so odd that it fits.
Yeah, that's
At the
weird.
same time.
The people that he's around If you looked at him, he shouldn't even be with him. But you know what, though? Again, that would be him selling himself short.
So
the people he needs to be around, he's really needs to be around.
The story is, I turned 50 years old September 3rd. I made my first run in this car 2 days before my 50th birthday. So that meant I achieved my childhood dream 2 days before I turned 50 years old. And I had a lot of help to do it.
But you gave your heart and soul.
It's a lot of help too that we got to put in it to make it whatever. And I'm not going to keep it forever, but I'm going to try to go as fast as I possibly can.
Oh God, I hope you don't kill
before I get
himself.
rid of it.